to the Most High God, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Yahweh being the name of the Heavenly Father, who the world calls God, Yahweh Shai being the name of his beloved Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus. This is the brother Yair Radad, the WFI Indiana camp, coming at y'all with a quick cold cut through the spirit. A WFI late night snack, man, on not looking back. Stop looking back. Continue to press forward, and as they say in the world, have tunnel vision in this thing, and keep your mind and your eyes focused on Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai and the kingdom, man, and the things that are important in this life spiritually. That's what we got to be focused on in the last days. That's what we got to take heed to. That's what we got to have tunnel vision on, and we can't worry about the things that's behind us, because the things that's behind us are the things that are unprofitable in the world, man. Right? The things that are unprofitable, the things that are lurking about to sift us out this truth, man. And you have to be able to take heed to the accounts that have been left for us in the scriptures to be able to understand, okay, I can't look back. Hey, okay, I can't do this. Okay, I can't do that. I need to learn from that brother. I need to learn from this brother in the scriptures. I need to learn from that sister in the scriptures and what not to do or what to do. You understand? So this quick cold cut through the spirit is going into right not looking back in the world. And I'm gonna kick it off with this right here. All right, I bring this out all the time. This is the book of Romans, chapter 15 and verse 4. It says, "For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope." So the things that's in the scriptures is written for us to learn from. To be able to say, like I said earlier, all right, I know how to go about this situation now because I see my mighty forefather David handle it this way. Okay, I know how not to go about it this way because I seen this man and how he dealt with that, and the Lord wasn't pleased with that. These things that's in the scriptures is a blueprint for us to be able to learn by and navigate through this life. All right, let's go to the book real quick. Let's go to the book of First Corinthians chapter 7. Right, this is the book of First Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 31. It says, "And they that use this world and not abusing it, for the fashion of this world passeth away." So the things of this world is gonna pass away at the end of the day, man. The things that the world is a facade, man. These buildings, the basketball games, the football games, the club, or the park, all that's just a facade, man. These things are gonna pass away. They won't endure forever. It just won't. So you have to understand and realize, like, yeah, you can use the world, but you don't want to abuse it. You don't want to abuse the things of this life to where it's getting to the point to where it's becoming unrighteous. It's you're turning it into unrighteousness. So yeah, you can use the world. There's nothing wrong with getting a good job, a decent job. There's nothing wrong with taking your family to the movies. There's nothing wrong with these different things. But you don't want to abuse these different things to the point to where now you looking back into the world to the point to where you like, dang man, they look like they having fun. Man, I remember when I used to go to the club, man. We used to be going, we used to be turning up. Hey, you can't think like that, man. You have to rebuke those thoughts because those thoughts become just thoughts. But then, hey, they'll grow on you if you don't cast those thoughts out and rebuke those thoughts. Those thoughts will continue to play on your mind. They'll continue to play on your mind. They'll plague your mind, and soon they come more and more. Now all of a sudden, now you thinking, now you reading the scriptures and you thinking about it. You at camp, you thinking about it. You doing this and that, and now you thinking about going to the damn club, or you thinking about the things that you used to do in the world, hanging with your friends in the world. Y'all passing blunts around, and y'all doing this and that and that. No, you can't do that, man. You got to keep your mind focused on Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Keep your mind focused on obtaining the kingdom. All right, and not abusing, right, the world. You had real quick. Let's go to the book of Exodus, chapter 16, real quick, because you had people in the wilderness who kind of was looking back, right? This is the book of Numbers, chapter 16, and verse, right, 16 and verse 2, and it reads, or Salakia, Exodus, Salakia. That's what I want. Tripping. It's the book of Exodus, chapter 16 and verse 2. And it reads, and the whole congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. And the children of Israel said unto them, would to God we had died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the flesh pots, and when we did eat bread to the full. For ye have brought us forth into this wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger. So they in the wilderness, man. They going through the wilderness. They footing it. They walking, and they murmuring against Moses and Aaron, like, man, y'all brought us out here to die. Hey, we could have did this back in Egypt with food that we could have ate, hey, till we got full. These were people who was looking back into the world, man. On a spiritual level, you have to understand these things. You cannot do that in these last days, man. You can't be the brother or the sister that you looking back like, man, I was doing better when I was before I came into the truth. Sister talking about, man, we used to go out way more before you started this Hebrew Israelite stuff. We used to go out all the time. Or the brother talking about, man, you used to do this and that, and we was this and that before we came into the truth. Hey, that's off. That's wicked, man. Hey, and on another fold, you're gonna have those things happening even in the second wilderness. You read about it, Ezekiel chapter 20. Hey, you gonna have people saying, hey, man, it was better when we had damn McDonald's, man. Now we over here eating bread, and it's kind of hard. Yeah, kind of good, but man, I miss when we had McDonald's. Miss when we had a damn Papa John's or whatever. All right, but at the end of the day, you don't want to be like these men. You don't want to be like these people that look back into the world that ultimately got destroyed, man. All right, real quick, let's go to the book of Luke, chapter 17, real quick. All right, classic. It's the book of Luke, chapter 17 and 32. And it reads, remember Lot's wife. All right, that's plain. It said, remember Lot's wife. Even though, like we brought out in the book of Romans, like we brought out in the book of Romans, chapter 15, right? You have to understand that these accounts is in here for a reason. They're not just in here just to be in there. They in there for a reason. Even Yahushua himself said, remember Lot's wife. So let's read about Lot's wife and what happened. Let's go to the book of Genesis, chapter 19, I believe. It's the book of Genesis, chapter 19. I'm going to start at verse. I'm going to start at verse 24. God, I'm going to start at verse 24. It's the book of Genesis, chapter 19, and verse 24. And it reads, then the Lord rained upon Sodom and Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven, and overthrew those cities and all the plain and all the inhabitants of the cities and that which grew upon the ground. So the Lord is destroying Sodom and Gomorrah. Now let's read what happened. It says, verse 26, but his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. So we don't know what she had in Sodom and Gomorrah. We don't know she may have had a place of business. She may have had things going on there. Whatever the case it may be, she looked back when she was told not to, when she couldn't. She was not, supposed to keep her eyes, focused. But she turned back and turned into a pillar of salt, man. And you don't want to be like that in these last days, get turned into a pillar of salt spiritually, all because you trying to peek back to when you was in the world. You trying to hit up those women from when you was in the world, man. Going off. You sisters trying to hit up those men from when you was in the world. Those old friends that you know ain't got nothing good to tell you or nothing good to do for you, but lead you into an unrighteous path, and you hitting them up, trying to see what the move is. Don't be like Lot's wife and look back into the world and get turned into a pillar of salt. Whether that be literally or whether that be on another fold level spiritually, your spirit get turned into a damn pillar of salt, stone, froze, stagnant, can't move, utterly get turned to reprobate. All right, let's go to the book of Matthew chapter 13 real quick. All right, this is the book of Matthew chapter 13 and verse 2. Matthew chapter 13 and verse, get right to the point so I can. Matthew chapter 13 and verse 22, right, going into the parable of the sower. It says, Matthew 13 and 22, it says, he also that received seed among the thorns is he that heareth the word, and the care of this world and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and he becometh unfruitful. So you don't want to get to the point to where you looking in the world and those things is just choking you. You understand the truth. You know you're an Israelite. You know you're an Israelite. You know you're from the tribe of Judah. You know them Revelations 13, and you know these different things. You know what you know and understand what you got to do, but guess what? You just, your spirit is getting choked out because you keep looking back into the world for riches, so-called clout, damn, whatever it may be. Whatever it may be that is having you or causing you to look back into the world. Those things are just choking you spiritually, and you can't let it do that, man. You can't let the things of the world choke you out. Got you in the damn headlock like damn Debo or whoever. Got you in a spiritual headlock, and you dying out. You want to go to the world, go back into the world, man, which is off. All right, let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 73. All right, it's the book of Psalms, chapter 73, and I'm going to start at verse 2. It says, but as for me, my feet were almost gone. My steps had well nigh slipped. You ate. Some of you ate. You slipping. You kind of slipping in this thing because you slipping because you looking back into the world. And you looking back into the world, you can't see where you're going. You looking back into the world, you can't get around or go through these different obstacles that's placed ahead before you. You looking back into the world so you can perceive the things that's in front of you, and now you falling over, you getting caught in snares and traps, you slipping, you tripping over stuff, and you're making this walk a lot harder than it has to be. All because you fiending for the things of the world. You lusting after the things of the world, man. All right, it says, verse 3, for I was envious at the foolish. You cannot be envious of foolish people, because that's what they are at the end of the day. They're people with no understanding, people whose days are numbered, unless they repent. And you can't fret yourself over those things. You can't be envious of those things, especially your oppressor, let alone the Jakes and Eves that's in the world who seemeth to be having the time of their life, but really they submersed in darkness and don't even know it. Submersed in evil and can't even perceive it. Eyes dull, hearing can't hear. All right, it says, I'm gonna read that again. It says, for I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. You see that? So you can't see, you see the people of the world going to and fro to the clubs and to the bars and the strip clubs and the games and this and that. And you can't look at that and be like, dang, man, I wish I could do that, man. Hey, if those thoughts come through your mind, hey, you need to rebuke those things immediately, man. Not just be like, oh, man. And they pondering on. Now you having a whole scenario. Now you envisioning yourself going to these different wicked places, man. You imagining yourself of what, how many damn ones you would throw if you was in a strip club. You imagining yourself at the bar picking up on Eve. That's off, man. Just lusting after the things of the world. And you can't be that way. You can't be envious of the foolish. Why would you want to be envious of the foolish when you know what their latter end is? You understand what the end is for them. What's waiting for them? At least they repent and come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments. Let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 37. It's the book of Psalms, chapter 37, and verse 1. And it reads, fret not thyself because of evildoers. Meaning, don't worry yourself because of what the evildoers are doing. You worried about, dang, they doing this, they doing that. Hey, don't worry about that, man. Don't look at that and ponder upon it as if you missing out on something. You're not missing out on nothing, brother. You're not missing out on nothing, sister. We done already did it. We already did it when we was in the world. Now we in this truth, man, and have a chance at everlasting salvation, man. Immortality, man. All the things that our heart desire, we have it. Or it's like we have a chance to obtain it. We just gotta keep focused, and like they say in the world, tunnel vision, and continue to press on and move forward in these last days, and not look back. All right. It says, fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity. All right, you can't fret yourself over these different things. You can't be envious, right, against the workers of iniquity and be worried about the things that the people of the world are doing. Why? It says, for they shall soon be cut down like the grass and wither as the green herb. That's the latter end of them. So unless you want to be cut down in the last days or cut down in the end when the Lord's come back, right? If that's what you want your latter end to be, then go back into the world. Go be around the foolish. Go indulge in the foolishness that this world has to offer. But if you want immortality, riches, a castle, all these different things, you don't have to wake up in the morning and your back be hurting still, man. Or it's Friday and you already thinking about going back to work on Monday. If you want these things that the Lord wants to give to us, and that the Lord desires to give to us, then you gotta keep tunnel vision and understand that you cannot envy the foolish, nor can you look back into the world in these last days. All right, let's go to the book of 2 Timothy. All right, this is the book of 2 Timothy. So I can. Bear with me. It's the book of 2 Timothy, chapter 4, and I want verse 10. That's what I want. It's the book of 2 Timothy, chapter 4, and verse 10. It says, for Demas hath forsaken me, having loved this present world. So you can't be like Demas. You can't be like him. You can't be like this man who forsook Paul for the love of the world, man. Paul's locked up, and he said, "Man, you know what? I'm going back to. I'm going back to the. Hey, I'm going back." That's off, and you can't be that way, man. You can't desire. You can't have those thoughts. I'm telling you, you got to rebuke them immediately. You got to say, "Agag Satan," man. Right? You have to rebuke Satan when those thoughts appear in your mind. Not let them have a playground in your mind. Now your spirit is pondering upon these different things. All right? I'm going to read that one more time. It says, this 2 Timothy 4 and 10, it says, for Demas hath forsaken me, having loved this present world. So he left Paul because he loved the world, man. And we don't know what that could have consisted of. Could have consisted of whatever. But whatever it was so strong that it put him back in the world, man. He couldn't endure. He couldn't stand strong in the faith. So, hey, he went back into the world and left Paul. It says, and is departed unto Thessalonica. He went all the way, he went back to Thessalonica. Why? Because he loved the world. And you can't be like this man and love the world going back to the things of the world, man. Now you back smoking weed. Now you back wearing a cross on your chest. Hey, it was a brother, man. Um, you know, that used to be with us a while ago, and I seen the brother. I seen the brother at the store, and out doing what I do, and I seen the brother at the store, and the brother he had his beard was shaved off, and he had a rosary around his neck. He went back into the world to go back to Christianity, go back to wearing those rosaries, right? And the cross and the chain and different stuff like that. Went back to shaving his beard. Went back into the world, man. And it says, oh, Salaya, that's it on that, right? Let me get um 2 Timothy chapter 1 and verse 15. It says, thou knowest that all they which are in Asia be turned away from me, of whom are Phygellus and Hermogenes, right? And when you read about these men, you can they started teaching that that the second coming already came, that the second resurrection already happened. So sometimes you looking back can cause you to get bugged out as well. You looking back can cause you that believe a thing that is a lie, bringing having delusions come upon you because you wasn't sound in the faith, because you wasn't staying focused on Yahweh Shem Yahushua. But instead you wanted to play over here, you wanted to play over there, you wanted to look back, you stumbling over doctrines, you people throwing doctrines at you and you getting hit like you playing dodgeball. Now you think that the second coming already came. It's like the second resurrection already happened. Like these two men thought. Phygellus and Hermogenes. They thought that. Right? Let me see. So we get Book of Deuteronomy. Like it. A couple more. Right? It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 11, and verse 16. Right? This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 11, and verse 16. And it reads, take heed to yourselves that your heart be not deceived, and ye turn aside and serve other gods and worship them. So you can't get deceived, man. You don't want to turn here and turn there and turn aside from the way of truth. Turn aside from the way of the Most High God to go and serve other gods. And when you going out and you go back into the world, guess what? You're going to serve other gods. Whether you start worshiping the woman now because you fiending so much after Eve that you make her a god, whether you fiending after drugs, whether that be weed or whatever the case may be, so you make that and put that on the pedestal and that's your god now. Attention, whatever the case may be, man. It says, I'm going to drop down to verse 18. It says, therefore shall ye lay up these my words in your heart and in your soul, and bind them for a sign upon your hand, that they may be as frontlets between your eyes. Meaning, what? You have to always meditate upon these things in the last days. Meditating upon righteousness, meditating upon the precepts, meditating upon the accounts that the Most High God has left for us to be able to understand, learn from, and apply. All right? Being focused. All right, and I'm going to end it with this right here. Okay. It's the book of Philippians, chapter 3, and verse 14. It says, I press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling of God in Hamashiach Yahushua. So this is what you got to do, man. You have to press toward the mark in these last days. All right. We say it all the time. You got to press toward the mark. You have to endure into the end. All right. So Lord willing, brothers and sisters, edified with this video, and Lord willing, brothers and sisters, do not look back in these last days. We at the end. We are literally almost at the end. It's only a couple ticks left until it strike 12, man. The little hand is getting ready to be on the 12. And it would be a shame for you to literally fall out this thing because you looking back into the world at the last minute, the last second. It would be a shame. You would never be able to live that down, man, until you got destroyed by your maker, then raised up again and destroyed again. All right, so Lord willing, brothers and sisters, edified, continue to go forward, press toward the mark, and be on fire and leveling up in these last days, man. So with that, I'm going to say, mighty, mighty, Kwam Yasha Allah, Shalom.